I didn't think I'd be making a video talking about the Sacramento Kings because we are so deep into the playoffs right now, but with how much stuff is going on right now with this franchise and how many of you guys there are asking me about what I think about the Kings, I figured I would just make a small little video where I go over, my thoughts, the entire breakdown of how last season ended and where we are right now and what the future looks like. So first things first, let's go to how the season ended, right? Obviously last year was a complete nightmare. You have the De'Aaron Fox trade for Zach LaVine, you have Mike Brown getting fired, a lot of coaching staff as well leaving midway through the season. Granted, they were a part of Mike Brown's staff, and overall not a good team. They lose in the play-in tournament. It was bad. It was not fun. And it was actually that night after the play-in tournament where we got the news that Monty McNair, longtime Sacramento Kings GM, and when I say long time, that's using Sacramento Kings standards, he was fired, mutually agreed to leave the team, which basically means him and Vivek knew damn well there was no way he was going to get an extension or no way that he was going to stick around for any longer, and the team wasn't good. So he leaves. He goes his own way. Good luck to Monty McNair wherever he ends up. So what was next for Sacramento? They didn't take their time to scout the market and see who's out there. No, they said, you know what, Scott Perry, you're our man. Come back in here. You already worked for us for a little bit a couple of years ago, and we want you back. You're now our new general manager. And when moves like this happen, I don't really have an opinion. I didn't see that Shams tweeted, saying Scott Perry is coming back and immediately go, hooray, we have a good GM. Because to be frank, I don't fucking know, right? A lot of this stuff, I don't really know if a GM is going to be good for my team. Yeah, you can look at what he did for previous, rosters. He went and worked for the New York Knicks for some time. But you can look at those situations and say, okay, this is what he did to the Knicks, or this is what he did to that roster. But the one thing that did stick in my mind as soon as we hired him was that he was known around the league to be a good guy. Everybody liked him. Everybody thinks he's a good, just person to have on your front office and your management, right? And that's something that I thought was pretty good. I took that as a good sign. And then even more information comes out where Monty McNair, right after he gets fired, he basically goes to reporters and says, yeah, I'm not going to lie, y'all. I didn't make any of those decisions. Those weird moves that you saw for DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine and to fire Mike Brown, I didn't do any of that shit. All of that stuff was the Kings owner, Vivek. Now, if you're a Kings fan, you're not really surprised, right? This is something that we have seen time and time again. Vivek is known to be doing this kind of stuff, but things kind of become more and more concerning when you look at Monty McNair, who won Executive of the Year, and also, in my opinion, has done excellent when it comes to drafting for this team. Not a huge fan of the Devin Carter pick, but either way, overall had a good run with the team, brought us back into the playoffs, right? The Beam team, all that kind of stuff. He was a good GM. He was pretty good. I know there was some weird beef in the front office in the first place, but to think that a GM that good, as good as Monty McNair, wasn't able to have control of his own roster because the owner was saying things to him like, nope, sorry, you need to go get Zach LaVine. It's a bit concerning when I see Scott Perry come into the play and he's sitting here talking about how the franchise, they're going to establish an identity and they want people who are here to be here. They don't want hostages. They want players. I don't know, I forgot his quote. When I hear stuff like that, it gets me so excited. I think, okay, we got a guy who is just gonna fight for Sacramento and just really trying to build up another winning team. But then I really think about it and I go, even if he has the chance to build a winning roster, is Vivek just gonna say, no, I like this other guy. Go get this guy instead. Is that something that we're going to have to see? Now, I should say, if there is any good news about Scott Perry coming in after watching his introduction press conferences, he even said himself, Vivek has nothing to do with my decisions. Vivek has given me full reins for this roster. Everything I do is going to be my decision. Do we really believe that, though? Do we really believe that that wasn't the same case for Monty McNair? That he was told, you know what, Monty, I trust your basketball decisions. Go ahead, build us a roster. But by the way, before you actually build the roster, I want you to fire the head coach and hire Doug Christie. But speaking about Doug Christie, today he was introduced officially as the Kings head coach. And to be honest with you guys, I love this move. Now, I don't love it because I think he's a great X's and O's coach, or I think he's the fucking Phil Jackson of the Sacramento Kings. I don't think coaching wise he's been anything outstanding. But what I love about him, what I love about what he brings to the team, he is Sacramento culture. The one time the Kings were good, the early 2000s, you know, that whole entire era, Doug Christie is really the only guy, you could also give some credit to Mike Bibby as well, but was really the only guy to stick through and say, I don't care, I love Sacramento, I love the Kings, I will die for this team. It was like he just lived for the city. He wants to win, he has unfinished business, and I love that mentality. But I love that mentality only if we're trying to rebuild. I saw a lot of people not agree on the Doug Christie hiring. They thought that they should have gone out and done the full hiring process and, you know, find this guy and that guy and, you know, interview them. And they just felt like Doug Christie was a rushed pick that also, not to mention, was very liked by Vivek as, you know, the head coach choice. And all that stuff I understand. But my big issue is for a franchise that needs some stability, they need the culture. What good does it do if we go out and hire some fucking all-star head coach just to be a rebuilding team and then have to fire him 2 years later because we're not winning? Like, all that kind of stuff. I feel like if you keep Doug Christie around, players clearly respect him. He's the voice, he's the heart of Sacramento. If we go through a rebuild right now and Doug Christie leads us through that, I feel like when the time comes where we do start to become a winning team and we start to, you know, make a push for something, he would have gone through the mud, he would have gone through the trenches. But when I say that, it's kind of like a big if. I say that I only like this move if we decide to rebuild, and unfortunately that doesn't really seem like something we're going to be doing. Back when De'Aaron Fox was on the trading market and we knew that he wanted to go to San Antonio, the one thing I said, I swear I have it in a YouTube video, if I didn't put it in a video, it was in like a Twitter space. I said, I don't care if we trade for some washed ass star. I think I literally said explicitly, don't trade for Zach LaVine, because what I wanted was young players and draft picks. The minute you trade De'Aaron Fox from this franchise, it's over. You're not winning anything. I thought it was ridiculous that the mindset from the front office was trade for a win-now player. Bro, you are moving on from a win-now player. What are you talking about? And after the nightmare season that we saw last year, I don't know how, you know, DeMar DeRozan feels about spending the rest of his career, you know, the short amount of time that he has left in the league, spending that here in Sacramento. Domantas Sabonis, I'm not going to dive too deep into this. I know a lot of people really like Sabonis. He seems frustrated. He doesn't seem to know where the franchise is going. And also, there's been, you know, rumors of him not liking Doug Christie. So we're looking at a situation where DeMar DeRozan possibly wants to leave, you know, might just want to find his way out. Domantas Sabonis basically got Mike Brown fired, whether you guys agree or not, and then now doesn't like the new head coach that they just brought in and also might want to leave, which leaves us with what? Zach LaVine as the franchise player, the guy who, by the way, our new GM Scott Perry said hasn't affected winning basketball, hasn't been a winner in his entire career. That's our franchise player? The guy that our GM doesn't even believe in? So it makes me just think, if you are Sacramento, if you're in any position of power, slam, and I mean slam, the reset button. I want everybody gone by the time the season starts. I don't want to see Sabonis. I don't want to see DeMar. I don't want to see LaVine. Not because I think they're bad players or because I don't, you know, like seeing them in Sacramento. They've been great. They've done us great. DeMar has been amazing. Zach LaVine has had some highlight moments in his short time here. Sabonis was on the Beam team. But my God, this team is going nowhere. And it makes me physically ill to imagine Scott Perry and really the entire team sit here and pretend like there's a chance that they can make something happen, build around Zach LaVine, and then we just end up being a mid team that doesn't get a good pick because we tried pushing for the play-in tournament, or we maybe miraculously get a playoff spot and make the playoffs just to get fucking 360 no-scoped in the first round. It makes me so frustrated because you're just wasting time. You're resetting the playoff drought. You know, it makes the 1 year that you made the playoffs look even more miserable if you're trying to latch on to that success. Just reset. So that being said, hopefully this was enough of a rant for all you Sacramento Kings fans out there. I know a lot of you guys apparently care about what I have to say, but guess what? I care about what you guys have to say. So comment down below your opinions, your takes, your comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. I read and respond to everybody. And while you're down there, if you can hit the like and subscribe button, that would help out a ton. I know that the timing for this video was really weird. I'm going to make more playoff videos here in a bit, but I wanted to get this one out since this is probably the last big move that we see until like trades start going down. So yeah, that being said, I will see you guys all in the next one. Later.